Welcome to Heroes 2, the making of the game. My name is Vanessa Pisuto, and today we are talking to Pastor Sam Neves and Vili Costescu about why they decided to create a game like no other. Welcome, Sam and Vili. It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Hey, Vanessa. Good to be here.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Good. So I'm going to jump right in and ask a difficult question, Sam, but I think you can handle it. So here is the question. Does the world really need another app? Why decided to invest so much time and so much effort into creating Heroes 2?
Incredible question. And the answer is not that complicated. There are 250,000 people every 30 days going online and searching for Bible game, Bible trivia, or Bible quiz, collectively those three terms. So people are searching for this, which means that they may not have found what they're looking for. It is possible for us to have the absolute best Bible quiz out there. And the reason why this matters is that as a group of people, as a movement, we have set ourselves to help people understand the Bible so they can find freedom, healing, and hope in Jesus. So anyone that is searching for anything in relationship to the Bible, we want to provide the absolute best content to help them. And having the possibility of having the best quiz out there is tremendous, because we can help them find truth as it is found in Scripture, but it has to be fun. Why another app? Because it has to be fun. Games are fun. There are 3.4 billion gamers out there playing games, and the gospel cannot shy away from any medium. So we'll use games if necessary to help people understand the Bible.
Thank you. Thank you. So this is a tool to spread the gospel. Vili, what's your take? How did you get involved with Heroes?
Vanessa, it's more like the Heroes, the game, got involved with me. You may not know, but Heroes, the game, has a twin sister. And the name of the sister is the Sabbath Sofa. Pastor Sam and I were friends forever. And we managed to get crazy one day and came up with these two ideas. Sam is actually the driving force. I was only the one holding his hands up and encouraging him to go as crazy as possible.
Vili, if it wasn't for Vili, there would be no Heroes or the Sabbath Sofa. Let's be clear about that, because when you start something crazy like this, games. At the time, I was a senior pastor of Wimbledon International Seventh-day Adventist Church there in London, and Vili is now the pastor of the same church where I was before. It's insane. So back then, we thought, let's make a game. And we talked to the church leaders and so on. And they looked at us and said, Sam, look, great idea, but the church doesn't do games. So we had to plow through this paradigm shift on entering into this new mission frontier. And you can't do this alone. You always need somebody that will say to you, you're not losing your mind. And Vili was that person for me. There were others, but he was the main person that kept pushing and saying, it is worth doing it. And then he started traveling in different parts of the world and promoting the game. And he would come back and say, you have no idea how excited people are in Thailand about this, and how much excited people are in Kenya about this. And then, the game just developed.
It took off. I love the fact that you said, Vili, that you were encouraging Sam to be crazy. I didn't think he needed encouragement, but it's good to know. It's good to know. And talking about changing the way we think about things, Sam. So there's people out there that feel, great that you want to spread the gospel, great that you want it to be fun, but I'm not sure how I feel about video games, because they have this picture that video games are violent, a waste of time, etc. What would you say to that mom or that dad that feels, I don't know that I want my kid playing another video game?
This is not strange in Christianity. Whenever there is a new medium, there is always fear that this belongs to the world and it's a worldly thing and that Christians should have no part in it. This is exactly what happened to the radio. When radio came, it's like, radio is from the devil. And of course, the devil must have looked at it and goes, I'm going to use it then. So next is television. Same thing happened. But when radio started being known everywhere, Christians said, you know what? We should be on the radio. And in our Seventh-day Adventist context, HMS Richards said, no, 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 no. We're going to use the radio to preach the gospel. And that's what he did, a pioneer. And later the church started radio stations all over the world. Then you have television. Same thing happened. Oh, television is from the devil. And of course, one generation later, we go, you know what? We should be using television to, as we call it, preach the three angels' messages. We need to proclaim the gospel there too. So now we're talking about games is the same thing. Are games dangerous? Yes. Games are very dangerous. Should you be careful about games? Yes. But it's the same thing with a knife or fire. Is fire dangerous? Yes. Are knives dangerous? Yes. But we probably used it today to cook, didn't we? We probably used fire in constructive ways. It's the same thing with games. Just because it's dangerous does not mean that we have to stay away from it. It means that we need to be careful. So with Heroes, we're very careful, for example, not to create addiction. The average gameplay cannot go over 10 minutes. So if people are playing for 3 minutes, that's our goal. They play for 3 minutes, they put it down. And then when they come back, they play for another 3 minutes, 7 minutes, they put it down, because we don't want to create addiction to the screen. There's plenty of other apps to do that. So we control the dopamine levels that people are experiencing. And there are many other things that we're doing in the game so that it doesn't fall into the same traps that other games fall into. But the main thing really with games and generally teenagers and so on, just watch out how much time you spend on it. And there are some games that you shouldn't even buy or touch. But the problem are not the games. The problem is they can be used for good and for bad. And we decided to use them for good.
Absolutely. You can take a brick and build a house, or you can hit someone on the head with it. It's what you do with it that makes the difference. Absolutely. So I wonder if you two got involved in the world of gaming before developing this game, or if it happened as you were developing the game.
I wasn't. Sam did.
Yeah.
I look young, or I look like I am Sam's twin brother, but I'm 10 years older than him. So I lost the train, but I had to learn about gaming. And Sam and I went to conferences. We presented the game at Christian media conferences. And allow me to say something regarding Sam's explanation. We don't have to be too apologetic about this game. Everywhere I went, not one single person said this is going to have some negative effects, things like that. And I have to say that even the grandparents and the parents are excited about this game. And I am more excited than ever, Sam, because today, for the first time, I played Heroes on an Android, and I cannot be happier.
Excellent. Excellent. So Sam, you were more into gaming even before.
Yes. When I first, the story there is not complicated. When I first heard of Atari back in the 80s, I insisted with my parents that we needed, keyword needed, to have it. So I played the Rally games and I played all of the Atari games. And then when Super Nintendo came out, many years later, I would hire it. This was in Brazil. I grew up in Brazil. We would rent the console for the weekend or for, Saturday night and so on. So we would rent it and play and play and play and play. And I spent too many hours playing. Now, my parents had this deal. My dad had to teach me lots of things to do at school and so on. And he was preparing me throughout my primary school to pass a really difficult exam in military school. So I had to study with him, but he had this technique. He would say, we're going to take 2-3 hours to study this. As soon as you learn it, you can go and play. Essentially, in 30 minutes, I mastered the subject so I could go and play. So it was a great motivational strategy of delayed gratification there. Very, very encouraging to parents. So eventually, I had my own Super Nintendo. So I played Mario and I clocked the game, which means you finish the game. And I would play other games too. Some of them were not that great, like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Do not advise you to play those games. And then came the PC era. Now I had a friend who had a PC, so he could play games on his PC. So, Red Alert and even Warcraft, the first Warcraft and others, learning different things through games and so on. And then the first GTA, which was a very violent game. I play that too. I do not recommend it. And then I learned the negative aspects of gaming, how you can be absorbed in this thing and it can destroy your spiritual life and all of it. But of course, because of that, you need to be more careful. So later, I was much more careful with my use of my time and what I dedicated that time to, etc. But gaming was there. And so in recent years, we have the console right here, and we play lots of games with the family or by myself. And gaming is a tremendous way for you to learn many different skills that you need in life. And research is very clear on the positive impact of games. So I really believe this, Vanessa. The church is ready to take the next step and use this mission frontier, gaming, to advance the gospel and to finish the work God has given us. We can reach 3.4 billion people who spend hours playing games. Why not create games that will bring them a full knowledge of salvation? Heroes is just the first. And if we have Bible studies and if we have decisions for Jesus through baptism and so on, then it will demonstrate that this is possible for us to improve and create other games in other ways. So that's the big plan there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wonder, because you have a history with gaming, if while you were playing these games, you were dreaming of a different Christian game, or when did the idea of Heroes actually land in your head and you were like, I have to do this. No one has done it, but I have to do it. When did that happen?
As I played games, I never imagined a Christian game or a Bible game.
Oh, okay.
Never.
Okay.
Did not happen. I was in Hong Kong. The General Conference had invited me to do a talk there for a conference called GAIN. Okay, GAIN, GAIN. And I was presenting on what the church should learn from Steve Jobs. He had just died, and that was the subject that I was covering. And after the talk, I went to the subway, the metro, as they call it in America. And I saw these hundreds of people absolutely absorbed in their devices, watching videos or doing stuff on the train. And at that moment, I was praying and it's like, God, how are we ever going to reach them? Is there any way that we can make sense of the gospel to them? And then I started snooping around and seeing what people were doing, just looking here and then looking there. And they were all playing games. So then it became very obvious. You know what? They're dedicating such long hours to these games. We need to develop our own games. And that's when Vili came in and other absolutely crazy people who dedicated their 3 years of their lives to doing this. And I'm so thankful that they did, because then it meant the church could enter into this new mission frontier.
Absolutely. Vili, how can churches use this new tool now that we have it, now that we have created it, how we can make the most out of it in our churches, in our communities? What can we do?
I'm still working on the answer to this question, Vanessa. But let me say this. I am excited, and every single person I talk to is excited about this. And how are you going to do it? I'm waiting to see how it's going to happen. That's why Heroes 2 and Sam talked about, and we will talk about this over and over and over again. The game is only one, not little, but the most important part is the engine of Heroes, the project. Heroes, the evangelistic tool. There will be lots of events. I can't wait to go all over the world and spread the gospel. A friend of mine from Kenya actually sent me a WhatsApp message, said, hey, your game is all over the social media now. So how are we going to do it? We are going to use the Bible in the most accessible way to a whole generation. And I have to say this to you, Vanessa, and to everyone listening to us. We are going to stop at nothing. We're going to stop at nothing doing this work to spread the good news of the gospel and the Bible using all possible means. And Heroes will be probably the engine of our evangelism for the next decade.
Amen. I have a microphone. Otherwise, I would have been clapping when you said that. I was like, yes, yes, a man after my own heart. As we wrap up, I want to hear from you maybe one or two sentences in terms of what's the vision. You were touching on that, Vili. What's next? This is leading to something bigger. What's in your heart? What's the vision? What's the dream?
I don't dream as big as Sam. But let me say this to you. There is a word that has been coined by a scholar here in the UK. The word is ludoliteracy. Ludoliteracy has to do with gaming. It's a science. And I would like to see young people getting PhDs,
Wow.
masters and PhDs in ludoliteracy.
Wow, that's amazing.
Can change the world. And that's my one sentence that I wanted to say to you.
Excellent. Thank you. Again, I wish I could clap. Sam, what's the vision? What's the dream? What's next? What's coming?
Can you imagine if we have 5 million people that starts Bible studies around the world because of this game? That's my heart's dream, is people that will wake up and say, you know what, the Bible has something to say to me personally, individually. And once you start studying the Bible, nothing remains the same. Your life changes. Everything changes. Oh, but I already believe the Bible. But do you understand it? Because understanding the Bible will lead you to have a full picture of who Jesus is. And once you have this intimate knowledge and understanding and friendship and connection with Jesus, well, then nothing can stop you. The giants that are coming your way, even the giants in the lack of finances, the giants in the lack of health, nothing will stop you, because what the Bible presents is that this is not the end. And the pandemic has reshaped us completely and changed our lives, and we lost our loved ones. But even death is not the end.
Amen.
Because God will bring it all back together. And when Lazarus died, his sisters thought that this was the end, and they wanted Jesus to be there sooner. But when Jesus came and they understood, they watched him work, and Lazarus came back to life. And our loved ones will come back to life too. And that's not the end either. So all of this, the more fun you have in the game, the more you will get to know Jesus, start Bible studies, and meet him one day as he returns.
Amen. Vili, yes, you want to say something else? Go for it. Say something else, Vili.
We used to smuggle Bibles into my country, Romania, during communism, right? And that was exciting times. Took risks. Now I have it here.
We're smuggling games.
And I can take it to North Korea. I can take it to Iran. I can take it anywhere. By the way, I don't know if Sam ever shared, but for the first few months of Heroes 1, the most players, where were they, Sam?
The most intense players were in Saudi Arabia, where the Bible is illegal.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. And the amazing thing is, like, you were talking about the size of this field, right? But it also fits in the palm of your hand. And this is the opportunity that we need to take. This is a huge mission field, but it's also in the palm of our hands. And we have a unique opportunity, a beautiful and unique opportunity. Thank you, Vili, and thank you, Sam. This has been an absolute privilege.
Thank you.
Thank you.